If you've been crying in silence because you feel forgotten, this message is for you. Maybe you feel the weight of depression and it's made it hard for you to get out of bed, or maybe your family feels more like a wrestling match than a safe place. This message is for you. I have a disclaimer to make before I even get into the depth of this video, and that is that there is have a disclaimer to make before I even get into the depth of this video, and that is that there is always an after. So if you've been dealing with thoughts that may say that you're not enough, or you're not equipped, or you're not prepared, I've got good news, and that is that there is always an after. Maybe you've been tired of pretending that you're one thing and you're really not, and you're like breaking down privately because of it. I want you to know that there is always an after. If you feel like you've been praying, God hasn't been answering your prayers, there is always an after. If you've been healing from betrayal, from people who have wounded you and left you for nothing, there is always an after. Maybe you've been trying to rebuild after a divorce, a broken family, a failure. There is always an after. In his kindness, God called you to share in his eternal glory by means of Jesus Christ. So after you have suffered a little while, he will restore, support, and strengthen you. He will place you on a firm foundation. I want you to know that there is always an after. Now, for the sake of time, I won't go all the way through Exodus chapter 14. I'm going to skip around in this video, but I would encourage you to watch the next two videos as I begin to break this down even further. But for the sake of time, I'm going to kind of give you an overview here of what's happening in Exodus chapter 14. So as we kind of arrive at our text, over 400 years of slavery that the Israelites have been in Egypt. And now they're coming to the place where they are going to be set free, right? They're being set free. They're in that process of being set free. And they've been through plagues. They've been through miracles. And now Pharaoh is being forced to release them. But literally as they exit, God doesn't take the easy route. I don't know who this is for, momentary detour here, but God doesn't always take the straight path. He doesn't always take the easy route. Never mistake an exit for deliverance. I don't know who needs to hear this, but never mistake God exiting you out of a situation for deliverance from a situation. I'm going to break that down a little bit more later on. But God literally does not just want you out of it. He wants you delivered. It's not enough for you to just come out of the furnace. It's not enough for you to just come out of the lion's den. It's not enough for you to just come out, right? It's not enough for God to just come and just pull you out, but you haven't been delivered. There are so many times in life where people have gotten out of things. God has exited them out of things, but literally they're easily consumed by the very thing that God pulled them out of because they just left, but they weren't delivered. Thought I'd just say that. And so going back to the story here, he takes them towards the Red Sea, and this particular route that he takes, if you're in the mind of the Israelites, if you're in the mind of them, this kind of looks like a setup. This looks like a trap, because the route in which he takes them puts them in the path of the Red Sea. And if you're looking at this from a bird's eye view, you can see that the Red Sea is ahead of them in the direction that they're going, which means they've come to the edge, right? They've literally come to the edge of freedom, but where there should be a crossing, where they need to cross, there is no crossing. Momentary detour for you real quick here. How many times have we come to the edge of greatness but turned around or went another direction because there was no crossing? Because we came to the Red Sea, because we came to this, we took the path God told us to take, because we did what God told us to do. We did it by faith. We did it broken. We did it hurt. We did it wounded. We did it with our enemies behind us. We did it knowing that they could potentially catch up, but we took the route God told me to take. I started that business. I went back to work. I did what God told me to forgive that. I forgave that person. But now I'm at a crossroads because the very thing that God was telling me to do that was going to deliver me, now there's something in the way of my freedom. What happens when something gets in the way of your freedom? And so what do? Our natural mind tells us, let's turn around. Let's go another way. Let's figure out another way. If you're analytical like me, I'm not ashamed to say this. If you're analytical like me and you're very strategic like me, you're always thinking of another way. You're always thinking of another way out. You're always thinking, what can I do to get out of this situation? Because your mind is wired to always think ahead. Think beyond. A matter of fact, a lot of us, if you're like me, you're working from the result, not to the result. So you can see the result. So you're working your way back from the result and taking steps. But what happens when an interruption happens? When there's an unexpected interruption in your path to getting to your freedom, to getting to the place God wants you to be. To coming out of this storm, to coming out of this place, to coming out of this bondage. What does it look like when you've come to the crossroads? And the truth is that some of us quit because we thought when we came to that crossroad, oh, I'm not called. I'm not chosen. I'm not purposed for this. I'm not driven for this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Why? Why do you feel like you can't do it? You feel like you can't do it because you've hit the end of the road, or what you think is the end of the road. But I came to tell you that sometimes you got to take a step, even if it looks like failure. You have to take a step, even if in your mind it doesn't make sense. You got to take a step, even if it looks like failure, even if it looks like you're going to sink. Come on, Peter, get off the boat, walk towards Jesus. It looks like you could drown. I know. It looks like this decision could make you go bankrupt. It looks like this decision could cost you your life. But if God is for you, when it's God, you got to take a step, even if it looks like failure. I don't know who that was for, but that was for about 2 or 3 of y'all. I'm just saying. You got to take a step, even if it looks like failure. And I want you to get in that head. I'm going to take that step. You know what? God been telling me to do this. I'm going to take that step. God has been telling me that God has been putting this on my heart. I'm going to take that step. And why am I going to take that step? I'm going to take that step because I know that somehow, some way, All things work together for the good of them who love God. All things work together. I want to leave this alone, but I need you to look at yourself in the mirror every time you wake up in the morning and just say, it's working. It's working. It's working. It's working. I don't see how it's working, but it's working. I don't know how it's working, but it's working. I don't see the results of it working yet, but it's working. All things, all of it, come together, work together. They build together. They come together. All things work together. All of it. All of it. Every decision that you made that may not have been the right decision in your mind, it somehow works together. Everything that you've done in your past that may not have been according to the will of God, it somehow works together. Everything that you are enduring right now that you can't see an expected end, I came to tell you somehow it works. It's working. It's working. It's working. And so you quit because you thought you weren't called. You thought you weren't purposed. You thought you weren't equipped. But sometimes you gotta know that it's working. And so Pharaoh, he sends an army after them. And the Israelites find themselves trapped between the sea in front of them and the army behind them. And even though they had just witnessed God's power in Egypt, they panic. They panic. They panic. They panic. Look at your neighbor if you have one, or just say this out loud to yourself. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. I understand they're catching up. I understand that they're coming at you. I understand that there's no way that I can cross here because there's no crossing. Don't panic. I need you to understand. Don't panic. And I'm not gonna be able to talk a lot about that because we got to get to the next video. So I'm going to need y'all to go ahead and get ready for the next because I'm going to break this down even more. But this is what the text actually says if I'm reading it word for word. Exodus chapter 14, verse 10 through 14. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. It says, as Pharaoh approached, the people of Israel looked up and panicked when they saw the Egyptians overtaking them. They cried out to the Lord and they said to Moses, why bring us out here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there enough graves for us in Egypt? What have you done to us? Why did you make us leave? Otherwise, if you wanted us to die, we could have just died there. Didn't we tell you this would happen while we were still in Egypt? We said, leave us alone. Let us be slaves to the Egyptians. It's better to be a slave in Egypt than it is to be a corpse in the wilderness. But Moses told the people, don't be afraid. Just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Egyptians you see today will never be seen again. Don't be afraid. Just stand still. In other words, be courageous. Be of good courage. For the Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm. Last thing I want you to say to yourself, and I want you to mean it with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your spirit. I want you to say to yourself, just stay calm. Just stay calm. Just stay calm. If you can just stay calm, don't get overwhelmed. Don't get anxious. Don't get don't have anxiety. Just stay calm. All anxiety is displaced fear. fear in the wrong place, that you perceive that something is going to happen before it happens. I know if you're like me, you're analytical, you're strategic, you're always thinking, your mind is always going, your mind is never present in the moment, it's always thinking about things ahead. But I need you to know to just stay calm. Don't get anxious about this. Yes, you're at a crossroads. Yes, you can't see your way. But just stay calm. Just stay calm. Look, that's where we're going to stop for now, because what happens next shows us how to fight without fear. See you in the next video.